Well, we're joined now by ABC correspondent Ben Knight, who's in Libya, in the city of Tobruk. Ben, what have you seen as you've been travelling through the country today?
Well, we came in this morning from the Egyptian border, and what we saw first of all is the incredible poverty of that part of Libya. And that perhaps explains, I think, why the east of the country has managed to rally in the way that it has and drive out the Gaddafi forces. As we came into Tobruk, we started to see some more signs of life. Basically, it's a very, very barren area, but some checkpoints along the road, but of course they're manned by locals. And as soon as they saw we were international media, they waved us through. They haven't seen foreign journalists in Tobruk for 40 years. And this is a very, very we were very, very welcomed when we came in. All along the way, we've been seeing the Libyan flag, but it's not the one that people would be familiar with. This is the flag from before Colonel Gaddafi took control, and it is everywhere here. This is a town that is probably one of the two safe towns, or relatively safe anyway, in Libya at the moment. The other one is Benghazi, which is about 5 hours further west from here. And so what that means is that people are celebrating their freedom. Now, they know that it's not over yet. They know that, Moamar Gaddafi still has money and still holds Tripoli, that they can't fully celebrate the change in Libya, but they're certainly celebrating the change in their own town. It's Friday prayers. The midday Friday prayers have just finished here. I'm in the central square, and it is a scene of absolute jubilation. There are people standing up on top of the mosque, waving, cheering to the people down in the square below them. They've got their moment, and they're not going to let it go for quite some time tonight, I would think.
Ben, at the same time, though, are there real fears that Gaddafi's forces will try to take back some of those areas claimed by protesters?
Well, what everyone is saying here, and I think they're right, is that it all depends on Tripoli, and it all depends on today. Now, midday prayers have been the focal point for many of these protests across the Middle East. Once the midday prayers are finished, that's when people try to muster as many people as they can onto the streets and make a show of strength. And it's certainly what we saw in Tunisia. It's certainly what we saw in Egypt and also in Bahrain, also in Algeria, also in Morocco. So today, it's Friday here, it's the afternoon, and it all depends on what happens in Tripoli. Now, the people in Tripoli know that if they're going to make a decisive show against Colonel Gaddafi and his regime, they have to get out today. But they also, this is the stronghold of the regime. It's the capital, and there are police on the streets 24 hours. There are mercenaries. The people there know that if they go out, they will be killed. And so people here in Tobruk and in the east of the country are desperately hoping that those people in Tripoli will brave the guns, brave the mercenaries, brave the violence, and brave death to go out and finish this revolution off.
And Gaddafi hasn't been seen since Tuesday, but he is understood to still be in Tripoli?
Well, so many people here don't think that he's left the country. There's been no talk of that whatsoever. They certainly hope that he will, but they're saying, look, this thing could finish tomorrow. It might take a few days, but it is going to end. It's just a matter of time. They absolutely despise him. They absolutely despise his family. There's a lot of people here who don't want him gone. They simply want him dead for the 40 years that he has been in power. I mean, where we are at Tobruk at the moment, we're right out in the east of the country. This is the last major city before you get to the Egyptian border. And people have been showing me the schools. They're saying, look at that. We have no services here. We have no water here. He never brought us any water, electricity, all of these things. We have not seen any of the benefits that any people in Tripoli had, and I think the people in Tripoli would probably argue that they haven't had much in the way of it either. But this is a town that has been ignored, and they are feeling as though finally they might be able to share in some of the country's wealth, but obviously there's a few steps to go before that happens.
Ben Knight in Tobruk, many thanks.